Hi guys, welcome back to another video. So it seems like that this is a season of privacy based tokens, and as of now, if we just look at like these tokens, we have massive gainers such as Zcash with over 190% in the last 30 days. After that, there is XMR. I won't be looking at XMR in this video because the token has a limited availability. After that, we have Dash with a massive gain, as you can see here. After that, we have DCR with a massive gain, and after that there is also Concordium as well with massive gains. And if we look at Horizon, that also has like massive gain, followed by like there is Chain, there is Secret and more. But again, in this video we'll just take a look at tokens that have like a high availability on the exchanges such as Zcash, Dash, as well as DCR, and I'll also look at two other low caps such as Elio or Secret. Let's see what happens. So let's get it started. So let's start with the big one. We have Zcash or the ZEC. And the token, in my last video I did say that if we get a breakout from this point, which was somewhere around like $304, we could see like a retest somewhere around new all-time high, or the all-time high that it has, and actually ended up hitting like 372. So that was its all-time high. After that, it retested back to that 303 level, and we had a massive breakout, and that seems like that this was a big one. And as of now, it did retest on this trend line, or on this like all-time high as well. So it is unclear where the token is headed for now, because we don't have any resistance whatsoever. Again, we do have a resistance of like around 750, but again, it seems like that the momentum it has, it will like most likely break above from that as well. That is what it seems like. And the token, or like on the coin, is following this trend line. So it seems like that it has a really strong like uptrend, and we could see it like we could see a retest somewhere on this trend line as well. So I think we are looking at a possibility of we are looking at a possibility of retest on this trend line eventually. So again, it can be like this, as well as it can be like this as well. So that is another possibility. Again, I'm not sure, but again, I think Zcash or the ZEC will most likely retest on this trend line eventually. So again, as of now, I think we are waiting for a pretty good correction. So again, I think soon it will retest on this trend line that it is following like ever since October. So I think this, if I plan to get into like ZEC or the Zcash, I think this is a trend line for the entry point as well. Again, if it breaks below, if it goes down from this trend line, I think we'll most likely see a massive correction from the ZEC, and we could see a retest as low as 372 if it goes below this trend line. But as of now, it doesn't seem like that is the case, and that is the case because this is like hyper bullish, as you can see, and it already has a market cap of 10 billion. Again, if privacy is the narrative that we are going with if we are going with the privacy narrative in this season, there is a possibility that ZEC could go as high as like 20 billion or even 30 billion. If that happens, the price of ZEC will be higher than like $1,500 or even somewhere around $2,000. That is a possibility that we are looking at. Anyways, but as of now, I think if I plan to get into the ZEC, the best entry is going to be somewhere on this trend line. So let's have a look at Dash now. So this was my setup in the previous video, and it seems like that it worked out fairly well, I would say. It did actually end up testing as high as 150. I thought it would peak somewhere around 137, but it did peak around 150, and it is going down like after that. So again, I think as I said, the best entry for the ZEC, best entry for the Dash is going to be somewhere around like I would say $58, or like eventually $36 is a possibility, because I did cover this token somewhere around here. And I think if we look at like this entry, that is also really good, somewhere around like 78 to 69 is a really good entry point. And again, I think considering how ZEC is doing as of now, there is a possibility that we could see another surge from like Dash as well. That is the possibility that we are looking at as of now. So again, I think it is possible we could see another massive run from the Dash as well, considering how like ZEC is doing. But again, as of now, I think the trend line that I'm looking at as of now is this one. So if we get a retest eventually on this trend line, I think this is going to be a really good entry. So if you're planning to get this token, I think, and if you can wait a bit, I think the best entry is going to be on this trend line. So most likely somewhere around $60 or even 69 or even like $78 is a possibility. Again, I think the possibility of Dash following ZEC is really high, but it seems like that Dash is in a really good correction. So let's see where it finds its support. But as of now, I think the possibility of it going as low as $61 is really high. But again, I think like if you're willing to take a risk, the entry point of around like 61 could be really interesting, or like somewhere around 54 is again another great entry point for this stock. Now looking at Decred or the DCR, this was my setup in the last video. I did say that the possibility of it like bouncing back from I think $34 or even like $41 was really high, and there was a possibility that it can retest somewhere around like $25. And again, it did go as low as $21, and it seems like that this was the best entry. And again, it is back to that like $38 point again. So again, as of now, if it breaks the high of $70, I think the possibility of it going as high as like 91 is really high. So as of now, again, if we just look at the lower time frame, it seems like that it wants to break out again. So if you look here, so that is really interesting, I would say. So again, after ZEC, this is the token that has been following ZEC really strong. So again, if you look at its market cap, it's relatively low, so there is certainly a possibility that it can hit 1 billion, and if it does that, that means the price will be somewhere around $80, I believe. So again, as of now, if we can get a breakout above from like 45 cents, I think it can try for that $54 mark as well. And eventually, if it gets as high as $70, and if we do get a breakout, I think the possibility of it going as high as $90 to $84 is really high. But again, as of now, to be honest, I think considering how much, or considering how it is doing as of now, there is a possibility that it may eventually continue to go up. But again, there is this trend line that it can also follow as well. So I'm not sure about this token as of now. Again, if we are planning to get into like DCR, I think the entry somewhere around $28 to like $27 seems to be really good. But this token is highly volatile, as you can see here. So in just a couple of days, it went from $70 to as low as $22. After that, it went back to that $45, and it went back to that $28. So this is highly volatile token, and if you're planning to get into DCR, I think this is going to be a risky entry, at least compared to Zcash. So Zcash has been holding really well, as you can see here, but whereas DCR, it doesn't show clear uptrend. But again, it is in the uptrend ever since October. So again, if we can get another entry on this trend line, I think eventually it may actually break out from this level. But overall, I think this could also be one of those tokens as of now in privacy narrative that may actually end up going as high as like 1 billion or even 2 billion as the privacy narrative is really high. But again, as of now, I think to do that, it does need to break out. So if we get a breakout above from this trend line, I think the possibility of it going as high as $48 or even like 51 or even like 54 is really high. Again, I think to do that it does need to break out, but it also can do that. So if it rejects on this trend line, the possibility of it retesting on this trend line and eventually we could see a massive breakout, that is another possibility that we are looking at. But again, we never know. So anyways, I think this was it. Thanks for watching. I will be back with more. Thank you.